Connecticut's newsroom. Now, the news at 11.
Good evening. I'm Lori Perez in for Allison Morris. First on Fox, parents are fuming and the superintendent wants her out. The future of a Bridgeport Elementary School principal accused of hitting and dragging students is hanging in the balance tonight. Fox Connecticut's Bo Berman talked to those in charge of her fate. He joins us from the newsroom. Bo?
Yeah, well, Lori, it's probably not uncommon to have, say, a baseball in your office on your desk, but this Bridgeport principal had a baseball bat in her room and is accused of slamming it on a desk in front of a special needs student. Perhaps even worse, she faces allegations of hitting one student and dragging another. 35-year school system veteran Carmen Perez Dixon is accused of, quote, popping a student in the head and dragging another student across the floor like she was, quote, a sack of potatoes. This, according to a Connecticut Post report from inside the public termination hearing. It's a hearing that Dixon asked for and oddly requested to be public.
We have to look at a lot of data and weigh the facts and based on these claims and come to a fair and partial decision.
We spoke with several current and former students at Tisdale Elementary Thursday, most aware of the allegations against the former principal.
No teacher, principal, anybody should be putting their hands on other kids.
According to the Post, the district's chief administrative officer took the accusations seriously when she saw video of the principal dragging children from under a table in a classroom all the way down a hallway. The administrator believes there was physical abuse and a pattern of fear and intimidation at the school. This includes an accusation that Dixon slammed a baseball bat on her desk in front of a student with special needs.
Our job right now as a board is to hear all the facts and to listen to both sides of the story.
But thus far, the board members have only heard the story of the school secretary, teacher's aide, and others testifying against Principal Dixon. Our call and email to Dixon's attorney, Josephine Miller, were not answered or returned. We visited Principal Dixon at her home Thursday for comment.
Hi, I'm Bo Berman. I'm with Fox Connecticut News.
When asked about the charges of abuse surfacing publicly, she refused to discuss the case, other than to say this.
It's okay, I'll have my day.
And Dixon is indeed expected to have her chance to share her side of the story before the board, coming up at the next hearing on September 4th.
This case is important because we need to hear the facts and make a decision about the lives of children, but also the lives of our professionals that work within our district.
Now, again, while sources confirm DCF investigated all of this, the agency legally cannot release a status or details of their investigation publicly. The Board of Education vice chair hopes to have a decision on Dixon's employment status within the next 2 weeks. And according to the Post report, the district's chief administrative officer testified that Principal Dixon told her that she has that baseball bat or had it in her classroom, quote, to protect herself from parents. Reporting in the newsroom, Bo Berman, Fox Connecticut.
This was a very grave case. Justice comes at the end of a trial, not before.
A Massachusetts grand jury has officially indicted Bristol native and former NFL player Aaron Hernandez for the first-degree murder of Odin Lloyd. Hernandez was also indicted on 5 weapons charges. Prosecutors say he orchestrated the execution-style murder of Lloyd, whose bullet-riddled body was found a half-mile from Hernandez's Massachusetts home in June. But his defense team says they are happy to move forward.
We are now pleased with the indictment that will put us on a path towards trial. There has been an incredible rush to judgment in this case. It has been based on innuendo and misrepresentations of facts. Hearsay and opinion has been represented as fact and as evidence, and it is not.
Hernandez is being held without bail and pleaded not guilty to the charges. His case will be transferred to Superior Court. If convicted, he could face life in prison. The man prosecutors call Hernandez's right-hand man was also indicted today. Ernest Wallace is charged with being an accessory after the fact and is being held on $500,000. Authorities say surveillance video shows Lloyd getting into a car with Hernandez, Wallace, and a man named Carlos Ortiz the night of the murder. Wallace and Ortiz are also from Bristol. Tonight in Bridgeport, a facelift for a 90-year-old rail system, part of Metro North's overhead rail power system, also known as the catenary system, will be replaced. The system and its sagging wires have been under scrutiny since May's train derailment. Fox Connecticut's Crystal Hall joins us live with more on what the upgrade might mean for commuters. Crystal?
Well, Lori, DOT says that it's good news for commuters. Now, where I'm standing at is not far from May's train crash site. It injured dozens, but it also highlighted the need for an investment in the state's rail infrastructure. Tonight, DOT officials held a public hearing addressing what a new catenary system would mean for Metro North and for commuters. It's just another day at Bridgeport's train station. Commuters hustling about. And if the Department of Transportation has their way, these commuters would be traveling with fewer delays, thanks to an upgrade on its rail infrastructure.
That'd be great. I mean, anything that reduces delays sounds good.
Especially in the winter months when trains run a little slow, that will help.
In a meeting Thursday evening, Department of Transportation representatives discussed the replacement of the 90-year-old catenary system on its Metro North New Haven main line. The construction would run through Norwalk, Westport, Bridgeport, and Stratford.
We're replacing a system that was basically constructed about 1907.
The current overhead wire system often sagged during summer and winter, sometimes resulting in delays.
This system now keeps the wire constantly taut, so we shouldn't have that occurrence anymore, both summertime and wintertime.
Jay Young, project engineer with the DOT Office of Rail, says this project will be split into two sections, 11 miles in total. Construction would start in April of 2014 and end in March of 2017. So will commuters notice anything? According to Young, no.
There will be a few additional poles basically going on the side of the road, but at 70 miles an hour, the public will never see them.
Well, this is the last section of Metro North between Greenwich and New Haven to receive this upgrade. The cost is about $60 to $90 million, and it would be funded by federal dollars. Reporting live in Bridgeport tonight, Crystal Hall, Fox, Connecticut.
Thank you, Crystal. $24,000 set aside in Newtown for the police department to invest in bulletproof vests. The money comes from the Sandy Hook Special Revenue Fund. The vests officers currently wear do not protect them from shots fired from assault rifles. Newtown's police chief says he will put a new vest in each of the department's 10 frontline cruisers, which are deployed in extremely dangerous situations. One step forward in the healing process for the East Haven families and a neighborhood whose lives came to a crashing halt this month. Workers took a wrecking ball to one of two homes on Charter Oak Avenue, barely left standing after a plane plowed into them. 4 people, 2 children on the ground, plus the pilot and his son in the plane, were killed in the crash.
I mean, every time I walk around here or something like that, I see that deer going on. It's grace. That's what I think.
The home that Sade Brantley and Madison Mitchell were in at the time of the crash is expected to be taken down in the next week or two. There are still some environmental concerns about jet fuel that did spill during that crash. A fire captain in New Haven faces reckless endangerment charges after allegedly pulling a gun on a colleague during an argument at the Lombard Street Firehouse. Police say Captain Richard Reif flashed the gun at acting fire captain Frank Ricci and 2 other men on Monday. Reif is free on a promise to appear at his next court date. The head of the emergency services in Hartford is canned by the mayor. He's supposed to be in charge of helping keep residents safe and police on their toes. But a slew of recent incidents have painted a different picture. Louisa Mueller joins us in the studio with more on why Mayor Pedro Segarra says it is time for Andrew Jaffe to go. Louisa?
Well, Lori, Mayor Segarra just finished up an investigation into the city's dispatch center. It's unclear which or what incidents spurred the investigation, but what is clear is that the outcome is not good for Andrew Jaffe.
Okay, your name? Ma'am? My name doesn't matter. I don't want to put my name involved. Okay, fine. Goodbye.
Abrupt hang-up. That's how a Hartford City dispatcher responded to a woman who wanted to anonymously make a report of shots fired last week. And then a dispatcher gave police the wrong address.
39 Lenmore. Sorry about that. 39 Lenmore.
The next morning, terror in that very same neighborhood.
I called last night because there were gunshots fired in our neighborhood. And there were police right here combing the street And meanwhile, not 20 feet away, there was a guy dying in my neighbor's yard.
The body of 21-year-old Valentine Santos was found nearly 9 hours after the call to dispatch. And now, more than a week later, the head of Hartford's Emergency Services and Telecommunications, Andrew Jaffe, has been fired.
Frankly, there were just too many instances of what I perceive to be as neglect, circumstances which are not acceptable to us, to the community that we serve.
One of those instances, this disturbing racial epithet made by a dispatcher over radio transmission earlier this month.
Arguing with neighbors over trash cans.
And in 2011, a dispatcher made a mistake that caused an almost 3-month delay in finding a woman's body.
Although I've concluded my initial investigation, there will be an ongoing review of the operations there. I'm not happy with the level of service.
Police Chief James Cervella will help with the transition in dispatch while the city searches for a new director. Jaffe's firing is effective immediately. He could not be reached for comment this evening. Louisa Moeller, Fox, Connecticut.
Tonight in Somerville, Massachusetts, the MIT police officer shot and killed by the Boston bombing suspects was honored for his service. Sean Collier was just weeks away from achieving his dream and becoming a Somerville police officer when he was killed. Tonight, the department posthumously swore him in, then retired his badge. It is a best-selling novel, highly regarded among novelists. Even Oprah recommends it. So why were Connecticut's prisoners denied the right to read it? That's next at 11.
The weather conditions that we have right now are quite favorable for additional buildup of this virus.
You can visit by day, but can't stay the night. The warning for campers and anyone headed outdoors in one Connecticut town. Plus, a hero's welcome. Just a few more touches and this work in progress will be complete for a Connecticut vet. That's ahead at 11.
And the humidity is back, but not for long. It's already on the way out of here. Just one and done. One day, that's it. And tomorrow, turning less humid, pleasant, and the weekend looks fantastic. I'll explain. Full forecast.